Great. Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. Welcome to this week's episode of Unsealed with Kate and Steve, part of the Racing Insiders podcast. And Steve, this is the last episode of August 2021.
Yeah.
Wow. I know. It's been quite the year. It's almost September.
I know. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is hard to believe. Great. So we'll kick things off and just let you know that if you're here live with us, go ahead and drop in any questions or comments, and we will be able to answer your tech questions and things.
Semi-accurately.
Well, hey, we'll do our best.
Because we're drinking beer today.
Oh, yeah. What are you drinking?
I'm just drinking Ultra.
You're talking really quiet today.
Really?
Yeah, you are.
Wow. Should I scream?
Well, you should scream louder because we've got to talk over the fan.
Oh. Well,
so do I need to put the microphone closer to you?
We probably ought to just make the fan stay in one spot, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It is brutal outside here.
Shit.
It's like 90 something, and we're under the gazebo, and the sun is just blazing behind us here. You can't see it because there's a curtain. Well, you can see that the curtain is really light because this is the direction that the sun comes in.
It's hotter than the gates of hell right now.
Hotter than the gates of hell. Okay, well, I'm drinking a chelada in my cool Racing Insiders podcast. Oh, and Craig says we can hear you both fine. So good. All right.
Well, that's good.
Good to know.
I was a little worried about the fan noise.
Yeah. Well, good. And so that's great that we've got that. And Roy says, hey, I don't have any questions today, but he's here.
Wow.
So our friend Roy, who has the Up on the Bars podcast, and definitely check that out. He's over on Facebook, and really credit to Roy for the fact that I started using StreamYard, and StreamYard is the software we're using to be able to broadcast to both YouTube and to Facebook at the same time. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's kind of fun to live stream to both platforms for sure. And let's see. Oh, Chuck says hi. He says, hey, Kate and Steve. And we've got a good tech question right here. Mm-hmm. So Brody says, hey, Steve, what should the fuel pressure be for a Hendren 604 on CHP?
Normally around about 6.5 to 7 pounds. The only time we go higher than that is if we switch over to E85.
Okay, great question. Oh,
and that's full throttle. So
okay. Roy says it is 103 in Bakersfield currently.
Probably zero humidity though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, Bakersfield is in farmland.
Yeah, maybe.
So you've got all those irrigation systems and all of that. Yeah, absolutely. David is here from Las Vegas saying, hey, guys. And then Watson Racing has a question. Mm-hmm. Hello, y'all. Question for Steve. Have you tried VP MS 98L fuel?
I have not, no.
Okay. Do you know anything about it?
No, I don't, honestly. MS, I assume it's going to be similar to MS 109, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's just a guess. But no, I have not tried that.
Okay. All right. Joshua says, what Steve think about base R1 fuel for 602 crate?
I think it's absolute shit. The only good fuel that I've seen that base produces is their E85 when it comes to a crate engine. Now, I mean, maybe their open fuel's fine, but their that R1 is garbage.
Okay. And we're still working on Steve expressing his real feelings about things.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, it's kind of good. Maybe you ought to try it when I think it's garbage.
Yeah. Okay, so Brody has a follow-up on that fuel pressure question. He says, what about idle? You mentioned full throttle, but what about idle?
I mean, idle, depending on the pump you've got, normally if it's a belt drive pump and you don't have a bypass in the bypass regulator or a bleed-off valve in the bypass regulator, it's going to be the same at idle as it is on the track. If you do have a bypass within the bypass, then you're going to be probably around 3 or 4 pounds at an idle. And then you want about that 7 pounds wound up.
Cool. Dustin's saying hey. And Frank is here. He says, love your show, Frank, from Granby, Quebec, Canada.
Oh,
or
yeah,
Quebec.
Nice.
Quebec. Yeah. I guess that's super American of me to say Quebec, but I think it's Quebec.
It might be.
I don't know.
It's Canada.
It is. I do want to say, I actually wanted to kick off the show, especially with all the world events going on. And I just want to say, I am so grateful that I was born in America. I was born here and that I live and my life is American, and I'm just so grateful. I mean, that's just a luck of the draw, but
out of all the countries I've been to
grateful.
in my life, this is the best one I've ever been to. So
I'm just great. I'm just filled with gratitude today.
There's a close second and third, but this is the best one I've ever.
No, but I'm truly filled with gratitude for the fact that I am American, and especially being. I mean, I don't usually pull the woman card, you guys, but. Right. Especially being a woman, there's no better place in this world to be than America. So I mean, I'm just grateful.
Look what you've been able to do.
Yeah.
You started a whole business from scratch, and now look at you. So
here I am. I have multiple businesses from scratch.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. You have the ability to do that.
I do.
Unless you're allowed to get educated.
I do.
Notice I say allowed to.
Yeah. So just a whole lot of gratitude. A whole lot of sadness for the world, but like just a whole lot of gratitude for myself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt, I preach gratitude all the time. Just pick one thing that you're grateful for today, and it makes your life better. All right, so follow up. Roy says, no, it's not humid in Bakersfield, 103. Well, we have like 900% humidity with whatever temperature it is right now.
It's just fucking miserable.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty.
I don't even know.
I don't know. My phone's in the house. So, all right, here's another question for you, Steve. James asked, how much clearance between drive shaft yoke and the transmission?
That's going to depend. I see what you're saying there. That's going to depend on how far forward the rear end walks. So like at full droop, with the rear end, driven all the way forward, you're going to need at least about 1 inch, I think, of clearance is usually what we go by between the yoke itself and smashing the back of the seat.
Okay.
And that honestly is one thing that a lot of people, I mean, they'll run like that in a non-ball spline type deal. They'll run that long slip yoke, and I've seen it to where that slip yoke will bottom out in there, and you're like, oh wow, I have no drive. Well, everything's bottoming out. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, drive shaft's one of the most common things we run into, especially on our chassis dyno, where number one, guys don't pay attention to that. Especially on ball spline stuff is usually where it's the worst. Where the balls are wore out, or the bushings wore out, whatever, and Alex will get in the car to go drive that thing on the chassis dyno and get it up to speed, and it's vibrating so bad it's ridiculous. Not something you're going to notice on the racetrack 9 times out of 10, because we're bouncing around on the racetrack, but on the chassis dyno, it's really, really evident.
And that's a great thing to talk about. What are the advantages of a chassis dyno? And I always find it interesting that we tend to think, oh, it's a dyno, so we're just going to find out what the horsepower and torque is, which is going to happen. And all of those other things that you guys can really uncover.
We were down on the other day. I mean, and not just dropping names, but a year or so ago, I was down with Bloomquist, and Scott's like, man, it'd be great to be able to like set up some cameras and get some angles on all this stuff and see what it's actually doing on acceleration. Because we can't mimic corner speed. And then he's like thinking, how the hell can we do this? And like have it on load sticks. And you know what I mean? His brain went to working, which was pretty cool. But that being said, like Matt Logan was there the other day when we were down on Matt Long. And Logan's down there with his camera while we're running it, watching the fifth spring work. And doing everything in slow-mo, like super slow-mo. And you could like see the spring doing some wobbling shit. And they were like tinkering around with that as we were dynoing. I mean, ultimately, that made a difference at our power at the rear tires, but he was just looking at all the deflection, everything going on with that fifth arm spring. It was pretty cool.
Well, maybe you need to do a secondary service at Hendren Racing Engines and strap GoPros onto these cars.
Well, I mean, it'd be an interesting thing to do. I mean, what would be interesting is like what Scott was mentioning is, get on load sticks and see exactly what's happening, under just straight line acceleration.
I agree. I think it's really interesting. Great. So Dustin says he's going IMCA stock cars in 2022.
There's a class for that on
Race Logic.
Race Logic.
Yeah, it was a good. Wow.
Well, I mean, I remember it because you and Alex went to it. So.
Yeah, we went out to Nebraska, and if you are just going to be new to the IMCA stock cars, definitely go to check out racelogic.vip. And I say that because we have the IMCA stock car class over there with Mike Knuckles, who's, I don't know how many championships he's won with IMCA stock cars. Really solid class, a lot of great information in there.
If it's a scenario where you can't show up in person, you can always buy it online.
Yeah, well, that's the online class, and the classes that we've already announced for next year are going to be the Crate Late Model class in Tennessee. So if you wanted to attend that live, I think there's some tickets left. Otherwise,
and that goes for 602s and 604s.
Correct. Yes,
and 525s, honestly.
Yeah, because it would be the same people, regardless of which. As far as the experts that you would bring in, and then we are going to have a metric street stock class. I mean, because the IMCA stock car rules are so much different than the street stock.
Yeah,
the metric street stock stuff. So we'll have a metric street stock. Boy, that is not the easiest thing to say. For Race Logic at racelogic.vip. So we can check that out. All right, Joshua says, what is the best fuel to run in it? Rather than we're not allowed to run E85. So kind of going back to that base R1.
Well, it'd go back to be what you're allowed to use. I assume if you're trying to use the base R1 or you refer to that, then it's going to be, you can use any oxygenated race gas. And the best thing out there right now is VP CHP, bar none. I mean, it's not even comparable to anything that the other two manufacturers make. Or three, if we include Sunoco. Well,
I can tell that Roy is a longtime viewer because he says, have you tried avgas? So if you're new to the show, let me just clue you in. We've had the aviation gas or airplane gas. We've had that question before in the past. And Steve's given his answer, and we pulled that little piece out and put it up on YouTube. And there are some people that are just they're probably more married to avgas than they are to their own wives because they're so passionate.
Well, I'm pretty sure they love avgas so much they've never been laid is what it comes down to.
It could be that too. Yes. So the comments about what an idiot Steve is and all of that have been rampant over on our avgas videos. So yes, he has tried avgas and it is not the best solution for these.
No, it is not.
So. All right, so Tim is here, and he says, great show, Kate and Steve. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, and Charles is here. He says, congratulations to Alex on his 5th place finish.
Yeah, it was good last night.
So Alex has had several top 5s, and in fact, Alex is right there on the other side of the camera. And I think that's a perfect, it's not like we really set up a segue or anything, but it's a perfect time to bring Alex on for just a couple of minutes because we have something new to try on the show today.
All right, cool. Let's swap seats because I'm going to get more beer anyway.
Okay, great. So we are not sponsored by Old Smokey, Tennessee.
Yet.
Yeah. So we're going to give them a shout out anyway. But I saw this in the liquor store, and it is Old Smokey, Tennessee, salty watermelon whiskey. Sounds really interesting. And
ready for it.
And, I'm all about my unboxing videos. You guys all know that. So this is kind of I guess it's an unbottling video.
An unbottling?
It's unbottling. All right. So we're going to give this a shot. Literally a shot. So we've got the shot glasses out. And we're going to hook up some shot glasses here.
We're going reasonable or are we going healthy?
Well, we got to look pretty for the cameras, right? Okay, that could be one. I will have a littler one because, just because.
I'll try mine in a minute.
Steve will try his in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and pour it for him.
Yeah.
So I guess Alex and I will do shots and leave Steve out.
Still going to get beer or something.
Yeah. All right, so this is our Old Smokey. Soon to be sponsored by Old Smokey. No, I haven't even talked to him. I don't know. All right. Cheers to your. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really good.
That is wicked good. Steve, you're gonna want to try this right now.
It's good. With some apple juice.
Yeah. Oh gosh, this would be so good. I would shoot it with. I would probably get Sprite afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna give this a thumbs up. This is a thumbs up, and I'm not just doing this just because Steve hasn't tried it. I will say the really only one I've met that I don't like is the mango habanero. Is it mango habanero?
Oh yeah, that one lit me up.
I don't like spicy food, so I don't do I don't do habanero. Not my gig. Not my thing. So
it's like first you get the mango, and then it's just like your throat's on fire, and it's not a pleasant experience.
It's like truly a throat punch. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. You get this. Ooh, wow, kind of like mango whiskey. Boom, and it just throat punches you. Just, what's that?
I said wimps.
I am a wimp.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I thought it was tasty.
Well, there's more.
Yeah, okay.
If you think it's so tasty, there's the rest of the bottle in there. We can bring that out.
Yeah,
and
I
we can
didn't
show
think
us.
it was tasty the next day, but I thought it was tasty.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I don't even have a response. I don't know if anybody could hear that or not. So we're gonna have some questions. You want to get some more beer?
Yeah, I'm gonna get more beer.
Go for it, and then I'll trade seats with you again.
Okay. So
Alex might be able to answer a question. You never know.
Yeah. He's the guy on the dyno.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your racing season so far.
It's been pretty good. We got our brand new car at the beginning of the season, train chassis from Benji Cole. That thing's been amazing. I've been able to do things in that thing that I haven't been able to do in any other car that I've had so far. But basically what we're doing now is just we're still dialing it in. I think next year we're going to be able to hit it a lot harder and go travel to some bigger races and stuff. But past few weeks we've secured 3 top 5s, and I've been happy with that. So the car's just been magnificent, really. It's more like me that's messing up. Last week this past Saturday, skipped practice because the track was real sloppy and didn't want to go out there and completely junk my stuff in the first corner. So we skipped skipped practice, went straight to qualifying. Qualified 7th out of like 16 guys, and then ended up managing to secure a top 5. So I'm happy with it. And he calls me every week after we're done racing and wanting to know how it did, what we can change. He's like the best guy to deal with. So,
well, and I've talked with Benji a lot, Benji Cole from Train Chassis, and what's really exciting is they're going to have a booth at the trade show. Benji's going to have a booth at the trade show, so put it on your calendars.
Tell them which trade show.
That's what I'm going. I am. So the Cars Racing Show, which Cars stands for Carolina Auto Racing Show, because everything has to have initials in racing. So Cars Racing Show, January 7th and 8th, and that'll be in Hickory, North Carolina. Last year we did it in December because PRI didn't happen, and so we just took those dates. But going into the end of 2021 and into the 2022 season, we decided we're obviously not going to do something in December, but in January 7th and 8th. So put it down on your calendar now. We'll have more details. The details are just be there January 7th and 8th, but we'll have pre-registration and things coming up here soon.
I'd have to say, given the height of the pandemic at that time, that show was incredible. I had the best of time there. There was way more people than honestly I expected.
Well, we were pretty much maxed out on capacity because it was still in lockdown mode in North Carolina, and it was it was pretty iffy whether we could even have the show, but we made it happen in the absolute worst of times. And we were limited on how many people could be inside the building, and we were having to count everybody coming in and everybody leaving and making sure that we were, not violating any rules. So I can't wait to see how amazing it's going to be this coming year, where there's no way that it can be as restricted as it was in December of 2020. Yeah, but still, we're not locked down like we were. It was full on lockdown. There was no trade shows. The only way you could do anything was be retail. You could have a gun show. You can have a protest, but you couldn't have a digital marketing conference. It was strange times, and those things are starting to come back, and we're going to come back, better than ever. And so if you happen to be a racing company that you would like to display at the show, feel free to reach out to me. It's me and my brother, Jimmy Schultz from Dirt Rap, that are the organizers of the Cars Racing Show. So we're happy to, we're really looking to bring a great variety, and especially some of the smaller companies. This is really a chance to shine because it's not 1,000 booths in this show.
And it's still a retail show.
It's still a retail show. You can sell stuff right there. And it'll probably end up about 150, 125, 150 exhibitors. So somewhere in that neighborhood, because just depending on how big people's booths are. We only have so much space. So you can see it. You can see the floor plan over on carsracingshow.com. So that's my that's my commercial message. All right, so
Cool deal.
Steve's back with his
I guess you
beer,
want your seat back
and
now. Oh,
no worries. Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Yes, thank you. All right, so Steve is back. I want you to try the salty watermelon whiskey. You're like full-on wine connoisseur over there at this point. Was there enough for you to taste, or do we need to?
No, that's enough.
you want the bottle?
I like it, but it's honestly too sweet for me.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's got good flavor, but
yeah.
I mean, that will get you hurt.
Oh yeah, it's easy to drink.
So,
I can see that.
So all the guys out there, if you know some women who like
what
sweet shots, then
you know what this would be really really
Just
good
saying.
with? It'd be good with one of two things: either like a diet Sprite, so you didn't have all the sugar, or but then again, I don't know. The other option would be, what about putting it with unsweet tea?
Maybe
That would be good.
I mean, sweet
That would be
enough
good.
where that would probably work. I mean, honestly, I love their salted caramel, but even that's too sweet. I just more of a whiskey. Just drink whiskey.
Yeah, I don't want to drink things that make me shudder. Like, ugh.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't do that. If you drink good shit, if you drink the cheap
It does
shit,
that
it does.
to me. I mean, you're always like, "Ooh, taste this. It's
It's
really
like cheap
smooth." And I'll be
tequila.
like,
It's
"Ugh."
like cheap tequila versus good tequila, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm too much of a wuss.
Oh,
All
I
right,
can
we're
taste
back
that
to
as well,
questions.
Mom.
We've got
Okay.
some good
All
questions
right,
here.
sorry.
Chuck has 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
It says, non-sanctioned 604 track.
Mhm.
I'll be trying alcohol and wondered if I should still run a spacer between the carb and the intake.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, run a spacer.
Yep.
And should spark plugs be gapped any differently? Good question on that.
Spark plug gap. Yeah, I mean, back in the day when we run methanol, and I mean, this isn't on crate engines, but I'll tell you who I would probably talk to. I would call Willie at Willie's Carburetor and Dyno Shop and ask him, because he's the guy that knows most about this methanol with 604 stuff. Being in the Midwest, there, I would call Willie and ask him what he's running for gap. I mean, like on race gas, we're running around 40, but methanol, I've seen pretty significant gains, honestly, on gap, going up to like 50 or 55. But that being said, the ignition system's got to be just freaking tits. I mean, it's got to be dead nuts on, because if it's not, then yeah. So at any rate, I'd call Willie and just ask him, honestly.
Yeah, that makes me think. I should reach out to Willie and see if he and Tanya are coming down this way anytime soon, because
usually they come down for the World Finals.
Yeah, they do. So
And the weekend before.
It'd be really great to come on, and even if it was during the week, we could even have a special show or something with Willie.
A lot of times when Willie comes down, we dyno whatever his latest stuff is at the shop and play around, for a day essentially.
Yeah, he's got some great knowledge. So
Last year we weren't able to because we didn't have his car ready to do it. But,
yeah, that was interesting. Great. All right. So next up, question on a 604 crate lay model from Tim. He says, Michigan, what is recommended gas or racing fuel? I mean, I think you've said that before.
Yeah, I mean, if you're allowed, I would be on CHP. If you're not, then I would be on, something. If you're not allowed an oxygenated race gas, I would be on something around 100, 102 octane.
Okay. Scott is here from California. He said, yep, still on fire.
Yeah, big
Sorry
shock.
to hear that, Scott. Hey, you know what, Scott? We made our hotel reservation. We made all of our reservations to come out to California. All of our reservations are made now.
Hopefully, dumb shit will be recalled by then, meaning Gavin Newsom. And then
thank you for being specific, because you needed to be.
Then Larry Elder will be in charge, and probably the fires will end at that point. Is my guess. I don't know.
Oh, it's hard to say. All right, John is here from Hamilton, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a great last name, John Crash.
Oh,
no. Awesome last name. Says an hour from Niagara Falls, 88 feels like 106 in American degrees. That's great. All right. Brian's here from Race Logic. He says both classes are starting to fill up. So, if you want to be part of the live experience with Race Logic, then I definitely go to racelogic.vip and get signed up.
I like burnt watermelon now.
I just did. It's actually quite fantastic.
It's better on the it's good coming up as it is going down.
Wow. Wow. And Craig says, that's what a pull down machine works good for. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, the pull down. I assume referring to the dyno.
Okay.
If we can integrate the pull down machine with the chassis dyno,
yeah,
that'd be freaking amazing.
Yeah. Oh, James says hello from the French fire. My goodness, there's fires everywhere, and well, if it's not fires, it's hurricanes. It's, yeah, wow.
Botched withdrawals from Afghanistan.
Yeah. And Tim says cannot run oxygenated fuel, nor E85, nor alcohol. So that's going to put you in
I would be on something.
Gases, like
I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not a big Renegade fuel fan, but their Crate 90. Well, no, it's got 2% oxygen content. What's that VP? That C was it C9 or something like that? Remember?
Yeah,
I think it's like C9. That's like a non-oxygenated race gas. I mean, that stuff is like pretty good. It's been a long time since I've tested it because honestly, we have no reason to test it anymore.
We've got an empty barrel in the dyno.
Yeah. So I think that stuff's pretty good.
All right. Sean says, do you recommend locking out the distributor on a 602? And what's the advantage/disadvantage?
Yeah, 100% lock it out. Advantage number one being you're always at 34 degrees of timing, and ultimately it produces more low end torque than if you got an advanced curve in the distributor. Number two is if you got to run like an HEI piece of crap distributor, then if it's not locked out, then that HEI can go. It goes haywire. So I would definitely lock it out.
Yeah. See, if you have to run an HEI. I have a few different options. One, if you have to run the GM distributor, I have the race prepped GM HEIs that actually Steve does for me, and those are locked out. I also have lockout kits for HEIs. I probably need to get lockout kits.
But yeah, regardless of whether it's an MSD or an HEI or whatever other brand you want to try to run, definitely lock it out.
All right, Jeff says, is it worth programming an MSD that is programmable on a dyno for a 604?
Yeah, we've been doing that for a while. So we originally started doing that with the Fast box, which apparently they're no longer going to make. Yeah,
that's sad news, but whoever their circuit board manufacturer is went out of business, and so there will be no more Fast boxes and Mission boxes in the
It's
future.
not worth doing if you're on race gas. If you're on E85, it's definitely worth doing. Like Alex's car, we probably got like one of the last Fast programmable boxes out there. Other than that, you'll have to buy MSD from now on.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. MSD.
Yeah, MSD. It's the same thing. It's
now, which box is that?
That's
the MSD.
E7. Oh, the E7 is the Fast.
Yeah, well, I knew that.
I don't remember the number on the MSD.
I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's probably
we just did one this week.
I think it was all it said on because we did that one.
We did for Jaden Frame. Yeah.
It was. I think it was 6AL programmable or something.
It might be.
Okay.
Yeah, it's programmable box. So on E85, yes, it's worth doing. On gas, no, it's not. I haven't seen any advantage on gas. But because, excuse me, I'm freaking burping watermelon whiskey.
See, aren't you grateful? Think about like your life right now that your life includes burping up salted watermelon whiskey. So that's a good life.
So because of like what we're doing on the E85 stuff we've got right now, like I'm gonna say Alex's car, for instance. What are we at? 42 degrees of timing?
Starting out, yeah, and then 3,500 it drops off.
Yeah, at 3,500 we're tapering it off. So, but we're so rich on the bottom end. I mean, we're basically running alcohol air fuel ratio on E85 at an idle and up to 3,500 RPM. So yeah, that is an advantage. But on race gas, no, it's not.
Okay.
So you got
that I've found, but I mean, somebody else may have a different opinion. I don't know. But
opposite spectrums on the air fuel ratio deal.
Opposite spectrums on the air fuel ratio. I'm just not sure people can hear you from there. So
right.
All right. Stewart is here. He says, "G'day, mates. Loving your work from Melbourne, Australia. Cheers." It's Stu.
Send me some freaking VB, dude.
How does somebody buy you some?
How does somebody send me VB? I will pay. I will PayPal money to have like a whole carton of VB sent here. Because I keep bragging on the, well, you know.
Okay, I'm just going to slow you down for just a second because right now, Australian people can't even leave their freaking homes.
Well, some of them.
It's really sad.
Kind of depends on where you're at.
I'm super glad that I'm American.
There's that one dude they're like trying to hunt down for sneezing in an elevator. It's for real. Now his mom sent me like the funniest shit. So Alex's mom is Australian. I used to live over there, and you know we got married, and here's Alex. But at any rate, she sent me a thing the other day. What was that? The
magpies.
Yeah, it was the swooping magpies. So it was like the stay-at-home order security agency.
Yeah,
is like out on patrol. So don't leave your house.
Apparently, these birds are giant, like eagle, crow size.
Well, they're crow size, yeah.
And that they will dive bomb your head if like they're very territorial. And then in your post, there's like a bunch of GIFs of showing these birds that are just like attacking.
So, anyways,
people.
the swooping magpies was like the joke of the whole day. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's hilarious. All right, Roy says Steve Austin and myself will be there at the show with the Cars Racing Show and have some big news coming. That's exciting.
There you go. That's awesome.
Really exciting. Tom says, I like it. I know Tom's coming out here to
Tom will
North
be
Carolina.
Here, for the
short track world championships and for the world finals. Yep. So that'll be exciting to have
and we'll see him in October
25th through the November. October 9th for your birthday is when Hall of Fame is, but we'll probably see him, we'll see him somewhere between that October 4th to October 11th time frame there when we're out in California.
Yeah, we're going to go out and drink beers and freaking.
Yeah. Speaking of beer, food. Stu says, Steve, VB isn't just beer.
It's a way of life. That is a fact.
Yes.
And I agree 1,000%.
All right. Here we go. We're back to tech questions. Danny says, he's Dan from New York. He says, if you are running a pump gas only class, given the opportunity, ethanol or non-ethanol?
Do you want to cheat or not?
Well, let's just go ahead and give both scenarios of whatever. Can I give you a recommendation of what I've heard before?
Okay,
if you have to run pump gas, what I had heard from my buddy Al at Friesen Chevrolet, he says if you really are going to be dedicated to, there's guys out there that are like, hey, you know what, I'm not going to spend $10 a gallon on race gas, but if you are going to buy pump gas, he said to get a 55-gallon drum and go to wherever you're buying your gas from and just go ahead and buy a 55-gallon drum of it, because that way any of the crap can go ahead and settle to the bottom. And the biggest thing with pump gas being the fact that if you're just getting gas on a weekly basis, the formulation really from last Tuesday to next Thursday is just different. So you can't really tune to that. So this way you can be consistent.
If it was me, what I would do, depending on what the rules say, the federal government's allowed to put up to 10%. They claim up to 10% ethanol in regular 93 pump gas. So there's normally what we've measured is a variance between 5% and 15%. So if it was me, I would buy straight 93, no ethanol content, and then I'd add 15% ethanol to it. Straight. Now that requires you got to be like a little bit of a fuel mixer scientist guy.
But you can't even get straight ethanol.
Yeah, you can.
100% ethanol 100?
Yeah, you can.
I didn't think you could, because
Absolutely.
I know you can't buy methanol that's 100%.
What?
Huh.
99.9% is methanol. The 0.1% is water.
Well, I thought it was like a whole thing where you couldn't get pure alcohol because people will drink it.
No, you can't get pure nitromethane.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's been how that's been since 9/11. So.
We're now like the Learning Channel.
So, no. That's how I would do it. But that being said, I would want to be on a dyno in order, like, if you can mix that shit the same every time, I would want to be on dyno to maximize what you're going to produce for power. So in other words, like the more ethanol you can add to the pump gas, the more power you will produce. Other than that, I'd want to find a place with like no ethanol, because that'll be more consistent than places who have 5, 10, or 15% ethanol. Because the difference between 5% and 15%, you're burning the motor down.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Jeremy says, hey, any tips on getting a 604 up to temp running E85? I've got the race fan and a shroud running 34 degrees of timing, and it's a struggle to get up oil and water temp while blocking off the radiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, and I'm not a fan of this, it's going to be a thermostat. I would look at Stant as far as thermostats go. And I know they make racing thermostats, which usually have a little bypass orifice in them. So I would probably look at Stant as far as the thermostat goes, and just get a 160 thermostat. I'm not as concerned about water temperature as I am oil temperature. So, generally oil temperature is going to run 20 to 40 degrees hotter than water temperature. As long as your oil temperature is up at a decent rate, then you're fine.
That is the very first time I have ever heard you recommend a thermostat.
Yeah, it's the only time you will. And I've got a couple customers that run thermostats. I hate the damn things. I despise them. But in this scenario here, especially when we're coming up on fall, then it's almost kind of a necessity.
Good to know.
On E85, not on gas.
Yeah. David says, do you have lockout kits for MSD distributors yet? I do not. Only the HEI, so I need to get that.
Yeah, they're available.
Yeah, I just need to order them. And, A, I need to figure out what the part number is. And then B, I need to order them. And, B, I need to find out if they're even available, because that's a whole thing. And then number 3, I need to buy them.
If they come from China, they're not available.
I know. We finally got distributors back in stock. I've only had those on order for like 2 or 3 months. So, yeah, is what it is. All right, Steve is here. He says, got the win last night at Brownstown. Nice. Thanks for the help and parts from both of you.
It's like a hard place to win. And I saw the other day, and I forgot to say it, but it was his birthday.
Steve Peden, happy birthday, Steve. And I met Steve Peden at the Race Logic Chassis School. Yeah, it's a recurring theme here.
I'm gonna say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, Steve. Yes. All right, Stewart says, VB order, no worries, mate. I'll be in touch, Steve.
Hey.
Yeah.
I will PayPal your ass. I don't care if it costs $500. I want like a carton of VB.
Wow. All right. And David says, I just get the VP98 fuel. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Works.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think it's time for another shot.
No, I'm not doing another shot.
I am. I only did half a shot last time, so I'm going to do another half a shot. Alex is doing one with me.
I'll do one with you.
Yeah.
You
all right.
Freaking weirdos.
Well, I didn't know if I'd like it last time. I really like it. Dinner's going to be really good after, I don't.
Shit.
I kind of quit.
Look, she filled that bitch up. You want to get over here where you can
Yeah.
I'll just get in between them.
All right. Not yet. Sponsored by Old Smokey.
Not yet.
Not yet. Almost. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Sink it.
Oh. Okay.
I thought you said you didn't want to go, oh!
Woo! Feeling good.
It's pretty smooth, I'll give it that.
It is. Smooth. It's really smooth.
Go in there and get some of that Ben Franklin out of that thing.
Are you sure it's
not
Thomas?
No. Or Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson. Yeah.
That I can drink.
It's in the Barcelona.
It's in the Barcelona. In the middle of the Barcelona. Yeah. So that's what we call the massive amount of cabinetry that houses all of the alcohol at my house.
It's an insane amount of alcohol.
It is. And
it's not because we're alcoholics. It's just because people give a shit and we randomly buy stuff.
Or I was in the liquor store, had something specific to buy, and it was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. So that's what happens. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big drinker. Like, this is the most I've drank more today than I have in like a month. But
I haven't drank since noon because I had to go do my fantasy football draft.
So how did your draft go today?
I'm actually happy with my team, even though I picked 10th. I think I'm going to be pretty good. Yeah, honestly.
Wow. So how many kickers do you have?
Just one. I did not go with the whole taco plan from. Yeah, that's it.
It's not
Jefferson.
Where's it at?
It should be there. There's a bottle in there. No, there's not a bottle in there, but
it's
there's
gonna
a
be in
bottle
the-
separately. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty happy with it, honestly. I think barring COVID, I got a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
Of course,
All right.
I say that every year after I draft, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, yeah, because COVID's like the whole wild card in the deal about whether you were exposed like
Right.
16 layers away
Exactly.
from being exposed to something and have to sit out for a week. Or something.
there's that.
All right, here's a new question. Bob is here. He says, where to find information to tune the programmable MSD box so you don't burn shit up trying to figure it out.
Just call me, honestly. Because there's just going to be parameters that, I mean, it's not rocket science, honestly, but just depending on what you're running for fuel. I mean, there's a lot of things you need to know. I mean, ultimately, if you're going to program one, you need to be on a dyno, whether it be a chassis dyno or an engine dyno. Chassis dyno makes more sense because it's real world. Everything's in the car. That's possible to do. But yeah, I just give me a shout and I can give you the timing curves we're running without a problem. Honestly, it's not a big secret. In Alex's stuff. So
Great.
And that would be E85 specific. Again,
Okay.
not.
Yeah, not across the board.
Now I have not messed with methanol, so honestly, I can't help you with methanol because methanol we can probably go even more stupid on what we're doing.
Good deal. Jeremy says, I paid for the online version of the chassis school and can't wait for the in-person one in January. I think it's well worth the money.
Nice.
That is great. I mean, I can say what I think about it, but for you as a racer and seeing it online.
One thing you miss online, I will say, is standing around before and standing around after and being able to talk to people directly. So you might have a question sitting at home online, but you can't ask anybody. So in person, you can walk up to, because we all hang out and go have some beers after, that kind of thing. And you can ask those questions because that's what we're there for. I mean, I'll be there, Matt Henderson. I mean, if we're talking the late model school, even the other one I'm going to go to, but
yeah,
I mean, everybody can ask questions. It's not a big deal. I mean, everybody's there to help everybody.
Well, and I include all of the questions.
Cool thing I thought about that.
Yeah.
School, because when I signed up to do it last year, I was like, I've been to this stuff before and it's kind of, but no, this was pretty spot on. I mean, a good deal. And like I said, I mean, there's breaks and there's everything else, and just walk up to the person and talk to them and ask the question. Maybe you don't want to ask a question publicly in front of everybody at the school, but you want to ask one privately. Everybody's willing to answer it.
Well, I mean, I think it also depends on your question too. So, hopefully people ask questions that are pretty general to everybody else. But when it gets to be really
very specific, something
that's so super specific where it wouldn't help anybody else, and then it starts becoming a class all about that guy that has some rando shit that isn't even yours, that makes it tough.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that too. Okay. All right. So I got some more here. Oh, David says, you guys should start a presidential draft for 2024. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling if this show is still going into 2024.
I gotta go find
one thing.
I gotta go find the whiskey.
We certainly.
I gotta pee.
Okay. Wow. I mean, apparently I'm the one constant on the show, so there's that. One thing you're going to get here is just really what our moments, what we're feeling for the day. Interestingly, it wouldn't take long to figure out Steve's a Republican-ish, and I am an independent. But have a seat, Alex. So
I'll wait till he finds what he's looking for.
Yeah, well, he's got to go find whiskey, and then he's got to go find,
the bathroom.
Yeah, well, he'll find whatever at the bathroom. But he'll be back. Okay, great. Actually, here's a question you can answer, and actually, because I know the answer to it too. Matt says, what timing do you recommend with the 602 running VP98?
Well, unless you have access to like a chassis dyno, there's not going to be a certain timing mark that we can recommend. I mean, 34 is always recommended like standard.
Yeah, that's our go-to.
Until we can get you on the chassis dyno and play with that back and forth, it's it's really up in the air because there's some motors that we've tried that 37, 38 degrees of timing. There's some that don't even want to touch that. So it's really all across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Bobby's here. He says there's a guy online selling GM bottle cap seals, allowing people to cheat up motors. Who can this be turned into in order to stop it? General Motors is what Steve just yelled out. And then also looking at your different series. So when we look at the different series, they have different requirements on their engines and their seals. So the bottle caps, are we using bottle cap? What are the current ones? Those are the current ones right now?
Bottle cap seals at the moment.
They're bottle caps. Okay.
But they're easier to get into than you think they are.
Yeah.
Because I think the guy that he's talking about sells the bottoms of them.
Okay.
As long as you can get the top off, he can sell you the bottoms, and then you can screw them right back in.
Honestly, this makes me mad. Really makes me mad.
It's horrible.
Getting the profit now, only to try to ruin a.
Well, that's not it.
Oh,
I think
you must have drank it all.
I think it's gone.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna. I'll do that.
All right.
We'll trade again. And that's not like. This is not like a shot. This is freaking damn good scotch, is what this is.
Well, do you need to get a glass then instead of your stainless steel shot glass there? Okay, because we could get you a glass. So he's drinking Dalmore now. Dalmore. And see, this shows. I don't know if you can see this, but so the glass, it is frosting over because it's so much cooler inside compared to outside. And in order for the noise factor, we've actually turned off the air conditioner inside. Okay. Danny says, if you were running a methanol class, moisture and dew points make a difference. How do you know what the optimum? He says, you answered already. But I don't think you didn't really answer about the optimum.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
If you are running a methanol class, moisture and dew points make a difference. How do you know what the optimum is?
Basically, you need a weather station with you, and nobody's going to do that. So it's not something that methanol is not as sensitive as race gas. So it's nothing that I would be too awful concerned about, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to actually do everything correctly, quote unquote, you do need a weather station with you, and it's not something that's normally practical.
Okay. Bobby says the guy is selling the whole set. So going back to the GM bottle cap seals, he's selling the whole set and is local to our Middle and West Tennessee tracks where we run Crate Racing USA. I mean, reach out to Adam. And
I'd reach out, Adam at Crate USA. I'd talk to him. Honestly, GM goes after people like that, 100%.
Okay.
And they sue him for copyright infringement.
Oh.
So.
Great.
That's
Bill Martens, and it would be the whole GM
Bill
team.
Never mind. But
yeah,
I would definitely get Adam involved in it, and he knows the right people to contact in order to actually get the ball in motion to shut that shit down. Yeah,
and they might be able to come in there and actually confiscate everything and make the guy's name dirt. Yeah,
I mean, well, it's dirt already, but
yeah, it's pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty. For sure. You know what we haven't done this week so far? We haven't done any of our questions from our pod decks. So would you like the would you rather interview deck or what the heck?
I don't know. Let the audience choose.
Okay, red, black, or green. Red, black, or green. First person to answer that question is the one we'll use. So red is would you rather, black is the interview deck, and green is what the heck. So go ahead and drop in a comment, and we will answer that. And wow, it's about time to wrap up the show. So we will. I'm just waiting for a comment. I don't know what the delay is. I know there's a delay between us talking and it broadcasting.
No, probably.
So it's green. All right, green. Oh, we got two greens. Tori's here. Amazing assistant Tori here, and David. They both answered green, and this is the what the heck deck. All right, so one question, and then we can wrap things up. What do you think, Steve?
You're going to do three. I mean, come on. One's like lame.
Okay.
I mean, it could be like something stupid like, what day is it?
Okay. All right, well, you pick three.
This is to ask you, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to pick 3 randos. Rando is my word of the day. It's always my word. Instead of random, I say rando. All right,
Okay.
What you got, Steve?
I'll go first?
Yep.
All right. So this is for Kate. Has anyone started a rumor about you? If so, what was it about?
Gosh, not lately. I mean, I guess the one thing about being an adult and kind of like stepping into my badassery, nobody starts rumors about me anymore. But
Do you want me to answer that for you?
yeah. Is there a rumor about me that I don't know about?
The governor's office and the trade show last year, some asshole started a rumor that this was going to be a non-mask show and everybody was there going to be like during a super spreader event.
True, and that we weren't a retail show.
Yeah, we weren't a retail show, or you weren't a retail show.
Yeah. So
that asshole.
We know who that was.
Yeah,
we do.
And they don't get press on our show. But if you ever want to know, you can call us and call either one of us, and we'll tell you. I'm not gonna give them free publicity because if they want their own damn publicity, they can start their own damn show.
Right.
All right, Steve. If you were a villain or criminal mastermind, what would be your calling card?
What would be my calling card?
Yeah.
Meaning, give me an example because I'm.
Okay. Calling card for a villain or a criminal mastermind.
Like a bat signal in the sky.
Yeah, bat signal, or like the Joker would like leave behind, little things. Like, what would be the thing that would you would leave behind?
So what would I leave behind so everybody knew I was there?
Yeah.
Probably a beer can.
Actually, you know what it would be? Beer tabs. It would be the tabs.
Yeah, because I always rip the tab off. I hate
always. So he's got like on a beer can. He takes the tab and he wiggles it until it comes off, and then that's 2 pieces of recycling.
Beer tab.
All right, what do you got?
All right, for you. What's the scariest sound you could hear in the middle of the night?
It would be Pippi screaming.
Okay.
My cat screaming like in pain. Mm-hmm. That would be the scariest sound.
Okay.
Although the other day, holy hell, there was thunder so loud that I thought either a semi-truck, like 2 semi-trucks collided in front of my house, or a bomb went off. It was that loud.
So that was the scariest sound in the middle of the night.
No, it really wasn't. But I mean, that was just on the same kind of concept. I even had to look out the window, and then I had to call down to the warehouse and say, "Did you guys hear that?" Because it was like the loudest thunder I've ever heard in my life, and they heard it too. All right, Steve, what's the grossest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
It happened yesterday, actually. And I didn't actually witness it, but I knew what happened. No, there was this chick at the restaurant yesterday, restaurant bar.
Yeah.
And there was these 3 little rich kid dudes who were like golfers. And so, that kind of transpired outside in their pickup truck with their little window screen thing up.
And that there was a chick that was...
Oh, you could hear it.
Yeah.
Wow. I went outside to have a cigarette. You could hear it.
Okay.
So that's the grossest thing I've ever seen in public.
Okay. All righty.
My turn?
Yeah.
Of course, that's probably not the grossest, but that's like the one that's like
yesterday.
sticking in my mind.
Yeah, I know. Gross. It's really not. Yeah, it's hard to come up with the superlatives in your whole life.
If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Yeah, it would probably be either get on board or get the fuck out of the way. That would be the warning label.
Wow, you cussed.
I did. That would probably be the warning label. Yeah.
All right.
That would probably be the warning.
Nice.
What do you think?
That's probably true. Yeah.
It's the warning label. Yeah.
Or like what you've always said, man up or gay down.
I did not. I did not say that.
I know the saying.
Yeah, I did not say that. I was translating that was someone that I knew said that, but yeah.
You totally said that.
Ours is different.
God, we are not going to have this show like taken off the list. All righty, Steve. What set of items could you buy that would make the cashier the most uncomfortable? Okay, before he answers this, I have to say, this was an idea that we actually had a while back for Alex. Like, hey, what are some combinations? Like, go to Walmart and see if you can get a reaction from the cashier. So Steve, what would be what's one example of that?
How many items?
What set of items?
Set of items.
Yeah. So if you want to do 3 or 4, I mean.
All right. So it's going to be a shovel, rope.
Yeah.
A box of condoms. And God, what was the other one I was saying?
Well, you need duct tape.
Well, no, you don't need duct tape.
You don't?
You hit him in the head with the shovel and tie him up with a rope.
Wow.
Box of condoms, and what was the other one? Some lime.
And some lime, yeah. Some lime. Wow.
Yeah, that's not serial killer-ish at all.
Yeah. And we've got some answers here too. Mm-hmm. Tori says, so David says, for you, Steve, that must be the rumored part, Dino Man. We talked about
Dino Man 14.
Yeah. And Tori says, SAS hole emblem. I don't know what that is, but that must be the calling card thing. I don't know what SAS hole is, but.
Well, it's like evil assistant Tori, so it's probably something evil.
Yeah. And John says, leaves a butt behind. Not sure what that means. And probably the sound, my cat hacking up a fur ball, and the light switches past that. Boy, that's the trick right there, yeah. Where you can hear it and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to, like, go through landmines and be careful about that. So,
yeah.
That's
pretty gross.
I think that is a good way to wrap up the show today, Steve. What do you think?
With hairballs?
Hey, well, no, just with the what the heck deck here. And do you have any last words for the week here, Steve?
No.
I don't either. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this show, and we will be back next Sunday. We can be back next Sunday, Steve. Anything going on?
No.
Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday. And I will be back Tuesday. I skipped this week Tuesday, but I'll be back on Tuesday. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Talking about weird sound.